Welcome back to Doc's Hot Shop and Forge. So today I'm going to be making a bolster plate because I'm quite happy with how I've got the form for these axes now. So this one is at the stage where I'm ready to weld in the bit, as you saw from the last video. I've got another 2 of these to do. And what I've done is, and I'll spare you the inordinately slow cutting on the power hacksaw, some 4140 round stock. I've cut a 50mm slice to match the 50mm by ½ inch, 12mm mild steel strapping that I've got. What I'm going to do is I'm going to weld these on, and then from the back I'm going to drill some holes that will match the drift that I've got for these. Then I'll file it out. It's going to be a rather tedious video. I won't go into all of the details of it, but suffice to say that it will essentially allow me to do that. Actually, I think it's this way around. To allow me to forge in the eye and draw out the cheeks to the profile that I like. I don't want to keep them rounded. I want to keep them slightly pointed, and this will give me the space to do that. And I'm happy enough with the form and the size of these that it's now worthwhile making a specific tool for that. So let's get started on making this to the point where I can start actually doing some hot work with it, because I will need to drive the drift in with it hot just to tidy up the inside after I drill and grind out as much of the eye passageway as possible. So let's have some fun. So to make this easier to weld, I've gone and ground off the mill scale, which you should always do anyway. So I'll clamp this one on, and then I'll tack it along this edge a little bit here. Then I'll do the other one, and then we'll flip it up on its side and do some proper edge seams. I've relieved the edges a little bit just to get better penetration. It shouldn't take too much work to drift it out once hot. So what we're going to do is we're going to forge weld those bolster plates to the back plate, the carrier plate. We're going to do that in the press, as you can see. Now we're about, I'd say 80 degrees away from Celsius, away from welding heat. And we'll give it a bit of a soak at that temperature. So we're coming up on 1140 degrees. I'd like it just a little bit over 1200 degrees Celsius, or I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, 3000 or something. Should be all that needs. Alright, let's start working those holes, because we've got to punch through a little bit of swarf or a little bit that we couldn't cut through because they're curves. So let's do that. That hammer looks so much like my other one. Woo! And it blurs. That's crazy hot. So that is going to be the thick end, that's the thin end, so let's get it hot and we'll drive the drift through. Now we've got to draw out some steel for those axe edges. This is 4140. Too far. Doesn't look like much, but we've actually moved it a bit. So I ran it underneath the hydraulic press. I don't need it. Oh, shit. Pay attention. I don't need it as wide as it is. Okay. enough that we can do it all in the one machine, eh? Better. Aim is to get it down to 20 by 20, and then it'll be easy enough to cut a little bit off it and draw that down to make the 3 edge pieces. As far as 4140 goes, I don't really have anything flat stockish already, so gotta make it yourself. Start it. Considering we started at 90 by 50 by 30, we're not doing too bad. We're coming up to a point where we might not be able to fit it in the press all the way anymore. But we're still a little ways from that, I think. Okay, I'll get that again. Now we've gotten it a little bit on the diamond, so we're going to see about undoing some of that. But we're just about done with the heavy forging. Just about got it down to square so we can cut off a bit that we need. All right, not terribly bad down this end. Yep. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, we've essentially gone from a block of 90 by 30 by 50 to about a bit over a foot. So we're at 20 by approximately 20. Slightly on the diamond, but this has to be drawn down to about 6 mil thick, so we're good. And yes, this is 4140. It's what's left over from making the cheeks for the bolster for the axes. So I thought it fitting that we incorporate the waste material from that into the axe bits themselves. I'm getting tired, but anyway, we'll muddle through a little bit further, get it a bit more tidy, and then I'll cut off a bit that we can draw out. about 35 centimeters. Cut off the little bit of bird mouthing at the end. We'll cut it about 10 centimeters or so, and we'll draw that down. Okay. Oops. Okay. For those playing along at home, we're now at 24 centimeters, so we've got the material we need. We just need to get it to the width that we want, and then forge it down to the cross section that we want, ready for tomorrow. Can't let it get too long. Okay. Okay. helps when you're beveling if you're using a cross peen, because that allows you to direct the metal more or less exactly where you want it, and that prevents bowing of the piece that you're working on from excessive expansion of the drawn down edge. So you get a little bit of edge stretch, but you won't get that much because you're directing where the metal goes, not just letting it go where it wants. As you can see, I've not had to straighten it. And I'm getting it quite down thin. It's about 1 millimeter. Almost at the point where I've got to end for end it. All right. Okay, and as you can see, not that much bow if you control it, and I haven't had to straighten it yet. So let's do that, so we're ready for tomorrow when we got to do that welding. At least we got most of the hard stuff done today. This end is a little bit thick, I think. That's a bit better. Still nice and straight. No, that's ready to cool off. And out of that 10 centimeters, we ended up with 30. So we got a little bit left over. Yesterday was a very, very hot day. Today is shaping up to be just as hot. But we got the bolster plate finished. I'm quite happy with how that came out. I do need to trim off this end because in working upside down, I actually pre-drilled the wrong hole at the wrong end, which is unfortunate, but yeah, whatever. I will trim that off. Now, I ended up inadvertently forge welding these to the back plate, so from about here outwards, they're actually forge welded on. But that's what happens when you're working at welding temperatures and you've essentially got a sealed environment. So that was quite an interesting side effect. The waste from cutting these two sections, I drew out to start making edge bits. The other, I've still got about 30 centimeters or so at 20 by 20 millimeters. It started out at 90 by 50 by 30. This is a 10 centimeter section of that 20 by 20. So that's good for 3 axes. So, as you can see, this one is drawn out to a point where I'm ready to weld in the bit. The other two need to be drawn out, and that is today's job, to draw out and weld those. But look out for that video in the next one. So that's where I'm going to leave off. If you've enjoyed the video, hit the thumbs up. Feel free to share on social media, and if you haven't already subscribed, I'd love it if you hit that subscribe button. When you do, don't forget, ring the notification bell. So get out to your shop, have some fun, work a bit. But whatever you do, do stay safe. And I'll catch you for the next one.